Test. Sweet. Happy Sabbath, everyone. By the way, for future references, you all are welcome to sit on this side as well. Yeah, so we could kind of balance it out. Um, so today I don't have the clicker. No, we don't have the clicker, so it's gonna have to be through you all up there. Can you all change the next slide? So thank you all for attending the way. Our motto for a few more weeks, we're actually gonna have a new one starting in July. So be prepared for that. But can we all say it together? One, two, three. Honor all people, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. 1 Peter 2:17. So we're gonna have that until July, and then we're gonna have a new one that was actually constructed by the way when we had our meeting, and I hope you guys enjoy that. Next slide. Also, who here was blessed by the Three Angels message series? The show of hands. Great. Who here is still interested in, I would say, learning more about the Three Angels messages and future events? That's okay. That's less than half of you. Hopefully, the rest will, next week, your hands will go up. Here's the thing. We ordered 45 of these books, and we recommend everyone to get it. We have a small groups on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. there in the young adult room, and we're covering this book. It's literally all about the final events. It's and WD for Z. If any of you know about him, he breaks things down so well, so smooth that it's not complicated and it's very simple, and it's biblical. It's not some crazy ideas. It's very biblical. So we highly recommend this book. And if you're not able to attend the small group, it doesn't mean that you can't purchase the book. You could still purchase it and study on your own time. Who here has read the books so far? A couple of chapters or whatever. Okay, now put your hands down. Who here has been blessed by the book? Great, okay, yeah. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Next slide. And if you're interested at the end of the way, just contact me and we could talk about that. Next week, we're having a what? A mock trial. Now, let's be honest. Who here has been preparing for that? No hands, and that's the truth, right? Okay. Well, we have 1 week to prepare. I'm telling everyone here, we have 1 week to prepare. The topic is going to be spirit of prophecy. And that doesn't mean only Sister White. It just means spirit of prophecy in general. So expect questions pertaining to why does the remnant church believe in spirit of prophecy? Why do you all believe that you're, oh sweet, we have the clicker now. Questions on why do you believe Sister White's a prophet? Does she fulfill the test of prophets? Or all those type of questions, expect them and study for them and have the answers ready. Thank you, sir. So it's next week. Be prepared. Court is in session soon. And the slow one. And with that being said, please join us around the piano. If this is your first time here, don't worry, we don't bite. Sometimes we do, if you all don't get up. So make sure you all come up. We're all friendly, and we're going to get around the piano, and we're just going to sing some hymns. So please join us up here, if you're part of the 144,000. Or the great multitude. All right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Now we will have our segment of the Throne of Grace, which is our prayer segment. And we will divide, I know you guys just sat down, we will divide into groups of 5. And I'll give you guys about 5 minutes to pray. And then or ask each other prayer requests, anything you might need praises. And then I'll begin praying after 5 minutes. So you guys can gather in groups of 5. Go ahead. Dear Heavenly Father, we are very grateful to be here worshiping your Sabbath day. We're thankful for all your blessings, and we just want to extend to you our love. And we just want to ask also for those leaders that will be coming into term this July. Some of them might be nervous or scared, or they might not know what to do. But we have assurance that you will lead them and guide them. And also, please allow us to be there for them and guiding us. At the end of the day, we all have the same goal, which is to lead people closer to you. So I pray that we're all there to comfort and just encourage them. And also, what I would like to ask for the colporteurs that are going around our community, please be with them. It must be difficult. It might be a burden. Sometimes they might be hungry or hot, but we just know that you're there to lead them and possibly guide souls to you. And I would like to pray for the Christians around our world who are constantly being persecuted. We might not know how that feels, but we just want to pray for them, and anything that might happen, allow them to know that if they are faithful, they will have eternity with you, which is our goal. And Lord, I would also like to ask that you constantly humble us and fill us with your Spirit. And please allow us not to seek worldly riches, but heavenly riches. We don't want to be people that are like the world, but we want to be like you, even if that means that we will be cast aside or looked down at. But we want to constantly be reflecting your love, and we just ask that you forgive us for not doing so. And Lord, we just want to ask for forgiveness also for sinning and not being the best Christians. We do know and have that assurance that you will lead us and guide us as long as we submit to you. And please be with our speaker Noe as he will be talking tonight. Use the Holy Spirit, use him, and allow the Holy Spirit to work through him. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Turn to Luke 9:23. It says, "Then he said to them all, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." Luke 9:23.
I was about to say good morning. That's how nervous I am. But happy Sabbath. I like Dr. Luke. He's a very detailed as when he writes. I know Matthew and Mark have the same text, but it's written differently. And I like how Luke writes it. Pick up your cross daily. And so that's why I chose that verse. I hope everyone has been blessed these past couple of weeks. I know we had the three angels message, all three of them, and Pastor Raja has gone over the sanctuary these past 2 weeks. And that's been a huge blessing, and I hope everyone's been blessed by that. And I hope y'all don't mind that I'm not going to speak on that because I still got lots to learn on that. But if you got questions, get with the experts. I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to answer all of your questions on that. And don't forget also, they've got the small groups going on. Before we go on, I just, if you don't mind bowing with me for a quick word of prayer for the Holy Spirit to be among us. Lord Jesus, I thank you so much for the opportunities that you've given me, Lord. I am but dust in your eyes, Lord, and minimize me and maximize you, Lord. Speak to me and speak through me, Father. I ask that your Holy Spirit is here with us. In Jesus' precious name, amen. So what I'm going to go over is on salvation and how to obtain it. And as we go along, think about the things that hold us back, the things that occupy our time instead of spending time with Jesus. Because salvation isn't earned by works. Salvation is by faith and by grace. And it's a free gift from God. And salvation has a price. And the price is the price that we have to pay. It's a price that we have to pay to be saved. But we don't pay by cash, because obviously that would be too easy. It's not cash on delivery, it's not COD, and then it's not paid by works. But it's a much deeper payment. And if we go back to Luke chapter 9:23, I don't even know why I'm not there. I'm sure everyone's still there, right? Luke chapter 9:23, it says, "Then he said to them all, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it." And so Jesus says, if anybody wants to follow me, deny themselves and follow me. And there it is in a nutshell, right? The price. Jesus said, if you want to follow me, first we must deny ourselves. Deny ourselves, which is kind of hard. And ironically, like, how do we even begin to deny ourselves? Like, what's the process? I'm very selfish at times. When I see food, I want to be the first to eat, or I want to eat more, as you can tell. But the process of denying ourselves, right? So let's go into, I'm pretty sure everyone's heard this story. Mark chapter 10, and we'll go to verse 17 and 22. And this is the rich young ruler. And who was the rich young ruler? And what was his name? The Bible doesn't even say his name, that he was just, he's not even, his name is not even mentioned in the Bible. But what we do know is that if he would have accepted to follow Jesus, he could have been the 12th disciple to have followed Jesus. But he didn't. And so who was right after him? That was the Apostle Paul. And the Apostle Paul was his backup, his substitute. And if the Apostle Paul was his substitute and his backup, and he was so great and he wrote so many books in the New Testament, could we imagine how greater this rich young ruler would have been if we would have accepted to follow Jesus? Because the Apostle Paul was his backup. And if he would have accepted to follow, what great of work he would have done for the kingdom of heaven. But we do know that the most beautiful words that Jesus ever told anyone were said to him, which were, "Follow me." And question would be, why didn't the rich young ruler follow Jesus? And we have to remember the text in Luke chapter 9:23. But let's read Mark chapter 10, 17 through 22. Where am I? Chapter 10. All right, we're all there, right? We'll do Matthew. If you're there, say, All right, so now as he was going out on the road, one came running, knelt before him, and asked him, "Good teacher, what shall I do that I may inherit the eternal life?" So Jesus said to him, "Why do you call me good? No one is good but one, that is God. You know your commandments," and I'm pretty sure the rich young ruler is thinking, yeah. Do not commit adultery? Check. Do not murder? Check. Do not steal? Check. Do not bear false witness. Do not defraud. Honor your father and your mother. Check, check, check. And so he's like, and he answers in verse 20, and he answered and he said to him, "Teacher, all these things I have kept from my youth." Then Jesus looks at him and loved him and said to him, "One thing you lack. Go your way, sell whatever you have and given to," thank you, given, where am I? "Give to the poor, and you shall have treasures in heaven, and come take up your cross and follow me." But he was sad at the words and went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. So he left sad because why? He had a lot of possessions. He had a lot of things. And the question would be, where is everything right now? Where's all his possessions? This guy was rich. I'm pretty sure he had Louis Vuitton clothing, Versace, Armani. He had jewelry to throw. He had cars, homes, wagons, camels, blinged out, toes and all that, But all of that kept him from following Jesus. Pretty sad. And the reality of that is that all of these things, the rich young ruler, do they exist today? And the answer is no. I'm pretty sure that once he died, all of it was gone, scattered. And then his clothing that he cherished the most just withered up in the dust. The point is that there is nothing, there is what? Nothing worth, nothing that is in this planet worth more than Jesus Christ. Nothing worth giving up our salvation. And yet we procrastinate. We hold and we say, "I'll study tomorrow. I'm too tired. I got time." Do we, brothers and sisters, do we have time? Look around. I was thinking about this and I was trying to remember. There's a YouTube channel called Something Is Happening. And they post things going on around the world, and it's like they have it up to date, like every 6 months or every 3 months. And every 3 months, they have everything that is going on around the world, everywhere. Like, I don't even know how they do it, but they have all these events that are going on, and they have them on their YouTube channel. It's kind of frightening if you're just watching that all the time. I don't recommend it, but I don't, because it gets kind of scary. But there's things that are happening constantly. Like, you just know something's about to happen. You know that Jesus is coming already. But what the rich young ruler desired and what held him back most of all was the pursuit of happiness. He wanted to be happy. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing of being happy. I want to be happy. I long to be happy. I want to be happy, and I'm always seeking to be happy. But people that are always looking for to be happy are always chasing happiness. That's why they get caught up into stealing, into doing all sorts of things that they shouldn't be doing. Stealing, drugging themselves, drinking, and chasing happiness. And like I said, there's nothing wrong being happy. That's why Jesus came down for that one day. He can come down again for all of us so we can be completely happy. But right now, what we do have is peace. Jesus never said that we'll be happy, but he said, peace I'll give you. Do you all agree that we're hard-headed? We're hard-headed people. I'm first to agree. I'm pretty sure Kai is too. It's an inside joke, but we're chasing happiness. You know, if I get this job, I'll be happy. If I get this promotion, I'll be happy. If I get this clothing, I'll be happy. If the Cowboys win a game, I'll say a game because they've never gone to the Super Bowl, I'll be happy. If I drink one more drink, if I smoke one more smoke, if I take this drug or take that drug, I'll be happy. If I'm with this girl or with this boy, I'll be happy. If I fill in the blank, I'll be happy. And the problem with the rich, some of the rich, is that they're more happier than the majority. And I say that because they are financially capable of filling that void. So when tragedy hits, when divorce comes, when things happen in their life, and they see how bad this planet is, they can jump on a plane, they can buy a ticket, they can go on a shopping spree to numb the pain and to forget their pain. That's why sometimes it's so hard to minister to the rich, and that's why the poor cling on to it for dear life. And that was the problem with the rich young ruler, is that happiness was around him, and unfortunately, happiness doesn't exist for long periods of time. And what Jesus is offering is eternal. Everything that we owned right now, that he owned doesn't exist anymore. Nothing on this earth is worth more than Jesus Christ. Amen, right? The things that we own today, that we cherish the most, will be dust right after us. Things that we hold dear to, that, memories, sakes, and stuff like that, that'll be gone. It'll all be gone. And if that's what holds us back from completely turning our lives to Christ, it's not worth it. The rich young ruler, when Jesus asked him to follow him, he couldn't imagine his future without all of his possessions. And unfortunately, he walked away sad. Same chapter, there's another story of a very less fortunate person, very, very less. And that is the story of Bartimaeus the blind. And that is on verse 46 through 52. Bartimaeus is a patronymic name. It means the son of Timaeus, kind of like John's son of John, Richardson, and so on. But he was blind. But Bartimaeus was blind. He was a blind guy. He ended up being blind. I don't know what's worse, of being blind or being born blind, or ending up being blind or being born blind. To me, I think ending up blind is very, very, very bad, I think, because then you have a sense of things that was taken away from you. I mean, at one moment you have sight and you're able to see things, and the next moment it's gone, it's taken away from you. So this is the story of Bartimaeus, that he ended up blind. And but when things are taken away from you, that's when you realize the value, the worth of what you had, you know. Um, and things like this happen all the time in the news. When things are taken away, bad things have taken away from you. Just in an instant, last week, I read a post on Facebook that there was a little child at the Donna pool that drowned, like that. Family's life changed. Facebook post, there's a girl missing in Mission. The girl is life changed, families changed. They're looking for this child. Drunk driver ran a red light, hit someone. Life changed. Things happen. Why? The planet that we live in today, the world that we live in today, this is where we're at. So Bartimaeus is a blind person. And what's his profession? What kind of profession, what can he do as a blind guy at that time? What can he do? I mean, today, blind people, they be on computers, they can sing, they can do lots of stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's government restrictions that force companies to tailor to blind people, but in those times, I mean, he couldn't go and work on a horse because he'd probably be working on a dog. Or if he was working on clothing, he'd be working on saddles or something. I don't know. But the only thing he can do was be a beggar, a limosnero. And the place he was at was in Jericho. And Jericho was a prosperous town at the time. People that would go to Jericho would eventually be going to Jerusalem. So they would have to go to Jericho to go to Jerusalem, and so Jericho at the time was a very prosperous place, and there was always things going. But the road to Jerusalem was a very dangerous road. I mean, there was a lot of thieves. They knew that people that were going to Jerusalem had a lot of money, and that they can be robbed. And Jesus tells a story in Luke 10, chapter 10, verse 30, of an individual that got robbed and left on the road. So what people would do was they would end up going to Jericho, checking into a Motel 6 or La Quinta, waiting for another group of individuals that were going to Jerusalem. And as they were going, they would kind of piggyback with each other so they can kind of be in a group, and then they would end up going to Jerusalem. And so Jericho at the time was a very busy town. There was a lot of things going on. So Bartimaeus sat on the side of the road on Highway 281, waiting and sitting there. People that were, like I said, people that were going to Jerusalem knew of things that there was a bad place. They would be mugged. And so what do you do when you're on your way to somewhere that's being mugged? What do you do with your money? You hide it. You stash it, right? And so people that were going to Jerusalem, they would stash it in their secret stash. They would put it in their shoes. I don't know. So they would hide their money, and they would hide all their prized possessions as they were going to Jerusalem. And so here's Bartimaeus sitting, waiting for people coming, but no one's stopping to give him anything because they don't want to disclose where their stash is at, where they're hiding their money. And so you come to think, like, why would you pick the worst place? I mean, obviously it's a busy place, but the worst place to be begging for money. Like, why there? Not only is the place that he picked to be begging for money was bad because nobody was going to be giving out money. What the Romans would do at that time, they would clear out all the trees, and they would leave it blank, like clear. And so, no trees, Texas heat coming down on him during the day, and then on top of that, people are walking, carriages are riding, horses are stomping, and all the dust that is coming up. So he's got the dust in his face, he's got the sun coming down, and everybody ignoring him. Why is he there? Why doesn't he move? Why would he want to be in an area like that? Why just go down to El Mercado or downtown where there's a lot of people that are willing to give him money and to give him something to eat or something to drink? The reason why is that he had heard of Jesus of Nazareth coming by. And he had heard of the great miracles that he had performed, how he had raised the dead, how he had healed, uh, basically healed. And so he knew that Jesus can solve any problem and any obstacle that was in front of Jesus, that he knew that he was able to stop that. He was able to overcome all of that. And he also heard that he was able to heal the paralytic, heal the leopard, heal a born blind man in Jerusalem, which is in John chapter 9, verses 1 and 12. And so Bartimaeus' mind starts thinking, Jesus is coming. Jesus is coming. How can I meet him? I'm blind. What do I need to do? Everyone's ignoring me. So things are going through his mind, like how can I get to this guy? How can I be where he's going to be? Remember, he's blind and no one's going to lead him. He'd probably walk, if he was going to walk on his own, he'd probably walk straight into the woods somewhere. And so a light bulb hits, like ding. And he says, I can be at the right place at the right time. He has to be going to Jerusalem. He's always there. I can be there. So I'll just end up on the road and I'll stay there until I see him. So he goes and he sets camp on Highway 281 northbound to Jerusalem, waiting for Jesus to come. And what do we call people like that? Seventh-day Adventists, don't we? Just waiting for Jesus to come. Only thing that he doesn't know is when he's going to come and at the time. And will he have compassion over him? And will he stop to talk to him? He doesn't know that. All he knows is that he's going to be there at that one spot and waiting for Jesus. So Bartimaeus, instead of being there a few hours, he ends up setting up camp. He stays there, and he's got Operation Meet Jesus Christ in his mind. I'm going to sit there, I'm going to wait. And he knows that sitting there waiting for Jesus, that he would end up dying because of the sun, the dust, no food, no water, the animals at night bugging him. He knows that. But the Apostle Paul says, Philippians 1:21, for me to live is Christ and to die is gain. So he waits. What's his hygiene? He's a beggar on the side of the road. Probably smells like right after camp, right? Doug Batchelor posted up a post, and I'll read it. He posted, this was, I believe, a couple months ago. Dirtiest man in the world. A dermatologist tells us that bathing too often may be good for your skin, but obviously not bathing often enough can cause serious social problems. Take, for example, Amu Haji, who is proud of the distinction of being the dirtiest man in the world, believing that washing would make him sick. Haji, who lives outside a village in the Fars province of Iran, has not had a shower or bath in at least 60 years. Mr. Haji is 80 years old, says he chose this way of life in his youth, and since then, not surprisingly, he has become a bit isolated. His clothing appears to be collection of dirt rags, and when in need of a haircut, he just burns his hair. At night, he either sleeps in a hole in the ground, which looks like a grave, or in an open brick shack, which some concerned neighbors built for him. He drinks his water from a rusty oil can, and his favorite meal is rotten porcupine. To relax, he likes to sit down and smoke a pipe packed with dung, which is poop. Once a group of young men tried to give him a shower, but luckily he says he managed to escape. When asked if there was anything he wanted, he said he'd like to find a wife. Eventually, Eventually, he has not figured out why he has been having this problem with that. And so when I saw that post from Doug Batchelor a couple weeks ago, it reminded me of Bartimaeus. So here's Bartimaeus, hasn't showered, dust all over his body, dust all over his clothes, long hair, long beard probably, and he stinks, I'm sure. I'm sure if you were standing down with, you'd be like, whoo. But he waits. And the question is, does Jesus treat everyone the same, or does he treat them differently? What do y'all think? Differently. There's a lot of text in the Bible that shows that where Jesus treats everyone differently. We go to Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 20, which is the demon-possessed man. And this guy spent his life pursuing the devil, playing amongst the devil stuff, playing amongst evil things. And as Jesus had been on, what was the scene before? When he calmed the sea. When Jesus calmed the sea with his disciples, he crosses over, and he goes straight to this man. This man is not even waiting for Jesus, and as he gets there, he tells him, "Leave. I don't want you here." He wasn't even waiting for Jesus. He wasn't even expecting. I start with this story because Bartimaeus is risking his life waiting for Jesus, and yet Jesus went straight to this demon-possessed man. Next story is in John chapter 5, verses 1 through 15, which is the pool of Bethesda. This guy was ill for 30 years. He's been sitting by the pool, waiting for an angel to come to stir up the water. And the creator of the universe, the creator of our lives, comes to him and asks him, "Do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed?" What does he say? No one's there to pull me in. Man. Jesus didn't go to Bartimaeus. He didn't even need to ask him, "Do you want to be healed?" Jesus ignored him. He made his stay in Jericho impossible. We go to Matthew chapter 15, verses 23 to 28, the faith of the Canaanite woman. Jesus knew she was yelling. Jesus knew the need. Why? Why did he allow her to yell and yell? I mean, she was yelling, "Hey, Jesus, please. Son of David, please. Jesus." And Jesus kept on walking by. The disciples got so tired of Jesus. "Come on. Go to her." What does Jesus say to her? What? I blanked out. It's not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. And Bartimaeus is at the road waiting day and night, not sure if it would be a week, a day, a month, a year, but he's waiting. He's got Operation Meet Jesus. Waiting faithfully, knowing that Jesus is the only one that can help him. And Jesus walks by. Jesus walks by and he's going. And Bartimaeus is there on the side of the road. And he's hearing all this commotion. I'm sure he's just bobbing his head. And he's hearing all this commotion. He's like, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" And Jesus is walking by. And finally someone answers him and says, "It's Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus, Son of David. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus just walking by. Jesus walking by, just chilling, walking. Jesus knows he can hear him, and he's walking by. And just imagine, he stinks. He's homeless. He's filthy. He's there begging, crying, yelling, hey, please come. Jesus is walking by. Why is that? I'm sorry. Why did he allow that to happen? So that the real blind, like you and I, can see what the blind can see in Jesus. So the Canaanite woman grabs Jesus' feet and says, yes, Lord. Even the dog eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. I'll take the crumb. I'll take the small blessing they don't want, Lord. So Jesus walks by Bartimaeus, ignoring, knowing that he's yelling, Jesus, Son of David. Jesus, Son of David. And he's walking. And Jesus knows, Jesus, Son of David. That's the last breath that Bartimaeus is going to yell out. And so Jesus turns around. And he tells his disciples, bring him to me. And the disciples run to him. Be of good cheer. Rise. After they were telling him to be quiet and to push him away, and finally hey, he's calling you, go. So Bartimaeus gets up. Verse 50, he rose and he threw, what? His garment, his blanket, and went to Jesus. So let's pause there. Bartimaeus is homeless, he's blind, and he has a blanket that he's kept with him through his Operation Mission Meet Jesus. That blanket probably covered him from the sun. That blanket probably covered him at night when he was cold. That blanket probably covered him from the dust that was going by. That blanket probably was his protection from the wild animals out there. That was my, hey, that's my blanket. And when Jesus told him to come, you fly, don't bother me blanket, it's gone. His only possession in this world that he had, that he cherished, gone. Vámonos. He let it go. Because he knew, he had no doubt in his mind that Jesus of Nazareth was going to make him well. What's holding us back? What occupies our time from spending time with Jesus? Is it our car? Is it our truck? Is it our jobs? Sunday football games, basketball games? What is it? I'm going to do a little story. Some of my class have already heard it, and I hope I can deliver it. Heard this from a pastor, Pastor Ho, and I thought it was very moving. But this is just to illustrate the story, and bear with me here. The day is over, and you're on your way home from work. You tune into the radio and you hear a little announcement from outside of India that there was a flu and there was a couple of people that passed away, 3 or 4 people. And it sounds kind of interesting, but you're like, oh, okay. They sent a couple of doctors to investigate the situation because they've never heard this. But like always, not much attention is given. And on Sabbath, on your way home from church, somehow you hear the news, and no longer is it 3 or 4 villagers, but now it's 30,000. In the back hills of India, it's now on TV at night. CNN covers it a little bit, and people are heading that way from the Center of Disease and Control, from Atlanta, because this disease has never been seen before. By Monday morning, you get up, and it's the leading story, and it's not India now. It's Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. Before you know it, they're calling it the mystery flu. The president has made some comment that he wants everyone to be praying, that all will go well. And everyone is wondering, how are we going to contain it? That's when the president of France steps in and makes an announcement that shocks the nation and rocks the entire continent of Europe. He is closing the borders, no flight in to and from any other country that has been affected by the mystery flu. That night, you're watching a little bit of CNN before going to bed, and your jaw hits the floor when a whipping woman is being translated from a French program and says that there is a man dying in a hospital in Paris of the mystery flu. It's now in Europe. Panic strikes, and as best as you can tell, once you get it, you have a few weeks. Once you get it for a few weeks, you don't have much time, 4 days. Unbelievable symptoms, and then you die. Britain closes its borders, but it's too late. Southampton, Northampton, it's Tuesday morning, and the President of the United States makes the call. Due to national security risk, all flights to and from Europe have been canceled. If your loved ones are overseas, I'm sorry. They cannot come back until we find a cure for this thing. Within 4 days, our nation has been plunged with unbelievable fear. People selling little masks for your face. People are talking, what if it comes to our country? And preachers are saying it's the scourge of God. It's Wednesday night, and your church at prayer meeting. When someone from the parking lot runs in, says, turn on the radio, turn on the radio. Everyone huddles around the transistor radio listening to the announcement. And it says, there are 2 women in Long Island Hospital dying of the mystery flu. Within hours, it seems that the entire nation is sweeping across the country. People are working around the clock nonstop to try to find cure. Nothing is working. All of a sudden, California, Oregon, Arizona, Florida, Massachusetts, Ohio, and Texas, it's as though it was creeping in from the borders. And all of a sudden comes this news reporter. The code has been broken. A cure has been found. A vaccine can be made, but it's going to cost the blood of someone that has not been infected. So sure enough, all throughout the Midwest, through the channels of the emergency broadcast system, everyone is asked to do something simple, to go down to your local hospital, have your blood type taken. That's all that we ask. When you hear the sirens, you go to your neighborhood, make your way quickly and quietly, safely to your local hospital. Sure enough, when you and your family go down there, it's finally Friday night. There's a long line of people, nurses and doctors, picking every finger, getting their blood samples and putting labels on it. Your wife and family is out there, and they're taking your sample. And they say, wait here on the parking lot. If we call your name, you're dismissed, and you can go home. You start around scared. You stare around scared. Your neighbors and you were there, wondering what's going on. Is this the end of the world? Suddenly, a young man comes out holding a clipboard and yelling a certain name. And you're trying to figure out what's he yelling. What's he yelling? Yeah, I can't hear. And finally, you feel a tug on your jacket, and it's your son that says, "Daddy, that's my name." And the doctors and the nurses hear that, and they rush over to him, and they pick him up. And you're wondering, wait, where you go? What's going on? I was like, we believe he's got the clean blood. We got to take him. And so they rush, and without any hesitations, they go into the hospital, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And finally, the doctors and the nurses come out hugging and laughing and smiling. Finally, for the first time in weeks, they're laughing. Then an old doctor comes out and says, "Thank you, sir. Your son's blood is perfect. It's clean, it's pure. We can make the vaccine." As word spreads throughout the parking lot, people are screaming, praying, yelling, crying. But the gray-haired doctor pulls you and your wife aside. "May I have a moment with you?" And the doctor says, "We didn't realize that the donor would be a child. We weren't prepared." And he asked, "Can you sign this consent form?" You look over at the amount of the blood type that is required, and it's empty. And you ask, how much blood do you need? And the doctor says, again, we weren't prepared that it would be a child. "Well, how much?" "All of it." "Well, can't you have a blood transfusion?" "We would, but we don't have any clean blood." A numb of silence. They ask, would you like a moment? Would you sign? Can you sign? So the dad signs. And they ask, would you like a moment? Of course. And you hear, "Mommy, Daddy, what's going on? Can you take his hand and say, 'Son, your mom and dad are here. Everything will be all right'?" Can you say that? Doctor comes in and says, "I'm sorry. We have to hurry. People are dying." Can you leave? Can you walk out? Can you walk out of the room? And you hear your son say, "Mom, Dad, why have you forsaken me?" The next week, they hold a memorial in honor of your son. Some folks sleep through it. Some don't even show. Some forget about it. And all you want to do is jump and yell and say, "My son died for you. Don't you care? Jesus died for you. Don't you care?" Are you going to take his gift of salvation and throw it away? How can you do that? God is not asking anymore what he is asking of his son. He gave his life for you. Don't we care? When we realize that we are the rich young ruler, and that quickly we need to become Bartimaeus, the blind man, and let go of our blankets, let go of our worldly possessions that hold us back, that is when we truly can have the gift of salvation where Jesus is with us. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you all for attending today. Who here was blessed by the sermon? I'm glad you all were here. With that being said, we're going to pray once I'm done with the announcements. Don't worry. If you haven't followed us yet, we have a Facebook page and we have an Instagram page. So make sure to follow us because we put stuff up there and it'll keep you how do I say? It'll keep you updated with the way. I also want to remind you all that we have small groups on Tuesday. The youth are hosting them, but it's open for anyone. If you're interested, we're covering that book, and the book costs $10. So feel free if you're interested. Talk to me when the service ends here, and we could get you a book. And the small groups are Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Even if you can't come there, still get a book because you will be blessed. Once again, we have our Spirit of Prophecy mock trial next week, so study to be prepared because we are going to be asking questions to the congregation. Hopefully everyone here can defend their faith. And in the back, there's going to be a black box that says the way. If you've been blessed at our service and if you want to give to our youth group, which I believe is a movement, it's not just a group, feel free to put in your funds, and we will use it as the Spirit moves. And with that being said, let's have a closing word of prayer, and then you're free to go. Our Father in heaven, we want to thank you, Lord. We are so thankful, Lord, for your love. And we are thankful, Lord, because we ask for your Spirit to be here today. And we ask for your Spirit to teach us and to instruct us. And the Spirit has delivered. Father in heaven, please forgive us if we don't take you serious. And Father, forgive us because at times we have the audacity to come to you asking for so much, but yet the little that you ask of us, we can't even do. Thank you, though, Lord, because Jesus didn't die for us because we loved him. He died for us because he loved us. And I pray, Father, that everyone here, that the Westaco youth and the Westaco church, Lord, could have a radical experience where we are willing to give all to Jesus because we recognize and acknowledge that he has given all for us. And Father in heaven, Lord, if there's anyone here today that is struggling with this, Lord, I pray right now that they could have the chance to say within their heart, Father, please forgive me, and I'm willing to surrender all to you. We thank you, Lord, for your love. And we just ask that as we go forward, Lord, that Jesus will be real to us and that we could say that we follow him wherever he goes. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you all for attending. Pastor Arthur has an announcement.